Several months ago, I learned about Peter Attia and his longevity process. Amazing. That's a whole nother video, or a whole series of videos. But one of the things I was trying to get a hold of in his concept of the Centenarian Olympics was balance tool that he was using. It's called a blackboard. He said it was one of the best things he had ever used, but he also said it was really expensive. So I went and checked it out, and he's right. It's really expensive. $99 to $150 for this thing. Not wanting to pay that price, but kind of liking the concept and idea it represented, I decided to make one of my own. So I reverse engineered the concept, and I think it actually made it better. I'll show you all the dimensions and the steps and my little improvements so you can make your own for $20 or less, depending on what supplies you have on hand. So let's go to a top-down shot and get into all the details. We've got two pieces of 1/2-inch plywood. I've come in and center punched where we're going to put the paracord, which is notionally about 1/8 of an inch, 5/8 of an inch from the edge. This is the back or heel portion, and then this is the foot portion here, and then there's the pivot. I started out with 4 3/4, and then after I sanded it down on all sides, it's the same distance, 4 7/8 inches, 124 millimeters. And then this piece here, 26 millimeters, 8 7/16. I was trying to find half circle wood, but I just couldn't find it, so I had to go with 90 degrees wood, and I'm just going to glue this in place. This is 6 inches long, and then I have two that are 3 inches long. Match these up as best as I can. So you can see I've actually drawn some lines on here. On this one, 3 lines. On this one, 2 lines. And so that's how I'm going to glue them up. I've had a major breakthrough. Originally I was going to do a drill through hole and then somehow channel it there to be flat. Didn't work out really well. This idea, having problems with symmetry, but you can see now it's really flexible. Both sides I did the same thing. So I drilled a hole with the drill block, that helped. This is a 3/16 inch drill bit, drilled through there. And then I mounted this in a block here like this, drilled down on top of it so that it goes all the way through. And I did this, mounted against the table. Sharpen the point, makes things so much easier. And since I'm coming through this way, I just took this dowel. You can also use a pair of tweezers and just push it in, and then it will come out on this side. And then you just pull it through. And then a simple overhand knot locks it in. And then you can spin this thing all the way around. For some reason the 500-pound paracord gives out on you, then you just repeat that process. And if you want it tighter, you can adjust it. Now I'm probably going to cut that down a little bit, more like this, but it certainly is easier to thread through the hole when you got a little longer length. On the top here, all I did is I took bamboo skewers, 3/16, just put it in the hole like that, and then took a flush cut saw and just carefully cut it off like that. Conceal the hole on that side. These dowels are not glued in, and the reason why is if for some reason the paracord gives out and you have to replace it. So we'll loosen this up just to show you. Once you pull the paracord out, you can pop that little piece out. 4 or 5 millimeters. 1/8 to 1/4 of an inch is about the space you want. And it's going to pivot right on the center line with this design. I always try to go simple if possible. I'm going to bring some paper over here and glue these guys up. I'm using Tight Bond. I just like to take my finger and just smooth it out. You can just hold that together with your fingers. Get a good seal. You can sand this down if you want. And I am using oak and white oak plywood. You could do this all in pine if you wanted and save yourself a couple bucks, but I think the oak is just a little stronger, and I just like oak when I have a choice. It's only been about 5 or 10 minutes and it's already setting up. I'm really impressed. Gorilla Glue has a wood glue that's just as good. I've used that too. Ran a bead through here since it had that little groove just to give it a little more extra strength. Let them all sit overnight, finish straightening out the ends, and then we're ready for the next step. A lot has happened since my last piece of the video. I was trying to figure out a couple things. First of all, how thick to make this hook and loop or Velcro tape. And then I wanted to have something that's going to work friction-wise on these wooden half circles. Say this is a wood floor or tile floor. If you have this roll on there, it's just going to slide back and forth like that when you're trying to make a move. Carpeting, probably not so bad. I found this anti-slip tape for bathtubs. It has a low profile, but yet is supposed to be pretty sticky under all sorts of different conditions. I'll post all the materials down below. With a little bit of pressure, that's not going to slide back and forth. You're actually going to have a little bit of firmness there when you move this on wood or tile. On carpeting, it's still not going to be a problem. I had 1-inch loop Velcro. Here's a 1-incher to give you an idea. So that was going to sit in the middle like that, and I wanted a bit more coverage. So I went with 1.2-inch Velcro that pretty much goes all the way across. And I'm going to have the catchy side, not the smooth side, on the half circles. The half circles have a tendency to snag on carpet or even are abrasive. And the only time you're going to use them is when this is mounted to this part right here. These are 4.5 1.2-inch strips. I've decided to do 4 on this one and 2 on this one. So you just pull it off like that. Pretty sticky stuff. You line up the center line, just put it on like that, and then just roll it down towards the bottom. And then I just take and cut off any excess with a pair of scissors. Nice and flush on both sides. Super sticky, high rating. You want to try to center it as best as you can, because once you put it down, it's just a lot harder to pull up and try to reset. Now let's see. Well, I guess as long as you don't press down too firmly on it, you should be okay. Press down firmly, even push it down on it like that. All of these are done. Now it's just a matter of putting the Velcro, using the same technique, on the bottom of the rotating boards. Since I had a lot of Velcro and it was relatively cheap compared to the cost of the project, I decided to put 5 strips across here and just 2 strips there. And I've pressed them down nice, solid. You can go back, press down on them. As far as this piece goes, you've got the ability to have those connect, and then you can move this around anywhere around here and it's going to stick really well. I've also seen in some cases where you would do this so that you could have something like that. More to follow on the exercise front. So I'm going to trim this up and then we'll start doing this side. For the top surface, I was thinking of skid guard safety tape, but it's pretty rough and I was a little concerned about how socks would do against that. So I found this cat tongue grips. It's not rubber, but it does have a pretty good gripping surface. So I'm going to put them on here and line them up like this. A little bit of an angle, put it down here. Once I figured out the angle I wanted, I cut the first one off and then used that as a guide to cut the second one off. Let me show you what I mean. Getting it right about where I want it, and then just tracing that pattern with the... There. So I've got the same angle here that's in the front. And then I'll just take this one and cut it again for this side. And all I have to do is put these down on the top, like that. Gives it a little bit of a different look as opposed to just having it straight. The back peels off fairly easy, and I'm going to use the one that's not taped as my guide on where to place this one, because we're kind of looking for symmetry here. I have this one in place. That gives me the guide for that one. Let me finish this off and then we'll do some final thoughts on the build. And here it is, all finished. The top and the bottom. And it pivots great. Just like the ultra expensive versions. I'm really happy with this build and how it turned out. So the next thing I need to do is test it. And I'll post that video up there and down below when it becomes available. Thumbs up and comments, always appreciated. Thanks for watching. If you're interested in making workout tools and not spending a whole lot of money, designs of all kinds, making and breaking things, home repairs, I build sports gear, photography equipment, and I even do costumes, cosplay, and props. Check out my channel and please subscribe, because you never know what you're gonna see.